Hello, hi, welcome to another episode of Taste Test, where my computer says, "Fact, don't. Why do I film whenever I'm exporting big files?" Whoops. This taste test in fall, clearly from this outfit, it's basically fall. Is cowboy romances, which kind of gives summer vibes. Anyways, I thought this would be a good one, because of the genre, right now, but two, I've never read a cowboy romance I like. In fact, I DNF'd one earlier this year. So that's fun. Yeah, I don't. One of my very few one-star reviews is also for cowboy romance. I gotta find a third one. That's another thing. I gotta find a third one. I only have two planned, which is Flawless. I think that's the first one in the LC Silver Extended Universe. I don't know. Yes, see you. But that one's not the first one. Okay, I already have the ebook because Kindle Unlimited. Blah blah blah. Who cares? Who cares? We're here because I finally got Done and Dusted, which is the second one I had planned. Because the wait list is like 8 months, and I got it 2 months early. So I immediately went, did I say 2 months early? I got it after waiting for 2 months. If I had said passed on it, it would have been another 6 months anyways, ish, at least. I would have had to wait. So I went, nope, I'm taking this. It's just my library only has the audiobook, which is like 6 hours and 51 minutes. So it'll take me no time. Okay, let's be real. That's another thing. That's why I think this one would be a good start, because Flawless, Elsie Silver, I'm gonna have to read with my eyeballs. And I think starting easy with a short one where I can listen to it is the best bet of me being able to take it slow on this one. This is the one that I'm most worried about, honestly. These people hate these books. Also, I do own an Elsie Silver, a different one in a different universe. I don't know. One of them had a sale that was like free. It was like the third or fourth one in one of the series, and one of the booktubers that I follow for specifically romance recommendations was like, "Hey, this one's my favorite and Else's favorite now." So I went and scooped that up. Not reading that during this. I'll just scroll through Libby at some point, but I have to read it within the next 4 days. That's why we're here. I have to read Done Dust within the next 4 days. So I'm going to do that, and I will update you at points. I think it's just gonna become, I'm like kind of close to another audiobook that I'm reading right now. I'm kind of close to the end, right? And by that I mean it's boring the living daylights out of me, so maybe I'll just switch to Done Dusted to, yeah, and then I'll go back to that one. For whenever I'm like doing something like the dishes, or doing skincare, or taking a shower, I'll just play the audiobook, right? That's the plan. I'll figure out another cowboy romance. My heating pap's right at me. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go search that while I distractedly watch YouTube. But that's that. That's the intro of this one. I have 2 books planned in a 3-book vlog, and I'm gonna go read the first one, and then who knows when I'm gonna read the other 2. This was immediately back. Apparently, I had an idea. I put it on the TBR shelf on Libby. I don't remember ever doing this. But I must have, when I went to put Done and Dusted on hold, I must have found it as like recommended. I went, maybe this one, which is Holding the Reins by Paisley something. You know what? Progress. I remembered her first name. One, the cover's cute. I really went, ooh, I like this cover. And then I went, hey, I already put it on my TBR thing. This must be the one that I was kind of planning for. The wait list is kind of long, so I should immediately put on my hold. Put on hold, and then hopefully by the time next one's done and I'll have time to read it, it will come in, right? And then also, I didn't read much of the synopsis. I'll be honest, I read the first paragraph, and that's it, which is basically says it's brother's best friend romance, which is a trope I have had success in enjoying. So I think it will work for me purely because of that, right? There's like an added bonus of a strong possibility of being good for me, because the other trope is that it's a trope I already know I like for the most part, so, right? That makes sense. Also, I'd like to thank Libby for having Westerns as a genre, so I could just search Western romance, and then just click first in series, and it was like the third one that popped up. It was like Done and Dusted, both ebook and audiobook popped up, and then apparently my library got the ebook, by the way. Since I put the audiobook on hold. Some LT Silver series, and then that one. So, hello, hi. You can't hear the computer. I'm really questioning who I am as a person right now, because I just enjoyed a cowboy romance. Yes, I did read all of Done and Dusted in one sitting. Oh, it's a fly. I was like, what am I hearing? It's a fly. Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, I enjoyed Done and Dusted enough to add the next one to my TBR. I'd officially put the series on my series list, which is a rare thing. Now I have to go through like extra step to do that. I really do. Like it's easier for me to DNF series now. But no, I went through the process of adding it to my catalog and adding the next one to my TBR, because that's how much I liked it. I say that I gave it 3.5, which for me and Cowboy Romance is great, because I think I've either DNF'd or given 1 or 2 stars to every single one I've read before this. So that's great. This is also great because I saw somebody's rating of every book in the Flawless series, and they put Flawless at 2.5, and this was on Fable when, like, these are people who have similar reading tastes as you, and so I went, oh no, so at least I like one of these. Chances are, listen, if I don't like the other 2, it's because this one was an audio, and the audiobook narrators did a really good job, and I should just listen to audiobooks, okay? Also, this one was shorter than the other two, I'm pretty sure. Also, I do love how, when I found the one yesterday, right? I think it's not, what is it? I wrote it down. I swear I wrote it down. I can tell you. I write things down. On this page is this holding the reins. I was all like, see, it's a brother's best friend romance, so like maybe I'll like it. Maybe I'll like it then, because sometimes that works for me. Not knowing that was also done and dusted. I had never read the synopsis. I had just seen the cover of the second one so much that I was like, I'll just do the first in that series. Good choice. Honestly, I do fear that the second one's gonna be my least favorite. Because I did glimpse at the synopses of the other ones, and the third one is the one that I assumed was gonna happen eventually, which is Gus and Teddy. Which is Luke, the one in Dun Dusted's best friend, who is Emmy, the woman in this one's brother, and Teddy is her best friend. So it's their best friends who hate each other, and the vibes are already hitting. So I'm excited. It is. Here's the thing: the writing style is giving a little bit the Knock 'Em Out series. The writing style and the small townness and stuff like that is giving Knock 'Em Out, but in a way that I enjoy more, because it's like half as long. It's not like 21 hours for the audiobook, okay? So things happened. I sat here, I played Papa's Freezeria and watered the plants, and then moved on with my life, and had a good time. Was it predictable? Yes. Did I still have a great time? Yes. Was I sitting here live on stream going when smutty scenes was happening? Yes. But I think that's just what I'm gonna do now. So yeah, that's I think the third one's gonna be the one I like most. And then there's 4 siblings in the writer family, and the fourth book in the series isn't about one of them. It is about the I was gonna say baby mama, co-parent of, is it Gus the one that has a kid? One of them has a kid, right? And she is engaged in this one, and apparently he leaves he doesn't show up to tell her, and she ends up with her first love from before any of these books, right? And I feel weird that the fourth one is about somebody who's connected to the family, but like not the fourth sibling. That feels weird. Anyways, it was good. I liked it. Did I say anything about what it's like or what it's about other than brother's best friend? No, she is a horse racing champion, whatever. And she had an accident where she fell off, and she was actually pretty badly injured, and so she essentially has PTSD from this. And so she returns home because she's like, I don't think I can race anymore. So she returns to hometown. Her family runs a horse ranch, right? So she's helping take care of the horses and whatnot, and she's hanging out with her best friend again, and she's back home, and nobody's like knows why she's home. And then the owner of the bar, who is her brother's best friend, who had a shitty childhood and ended up living with them and basically becoming a bonus like family member at one point, who would always pick on her and whatnot when they were kids, right? Has become responsible. He owns the thriving bar in town that everybody loves. He has his own house that's like put together. He has a bed frame. That's a whole aspect for. I think that's in the epilogue actually where. Also, I love how in this one the epilogue isn't them getting engaged. I really thought when he pushed the metal thing across the table, I really thought he was gonna. That's like every epilogue in romances. No, it was him giving her a house key, which I found cute. Anyways, yeah, he has like a house and a thriving business, and he also on his spare time does the kids horse ride training at the ranch, and also the child, I think it's Gus's child, I don't remember. He is like the godfather and takes her to like classes when, or like needs to pick her up from school or whatever, if neither one of them can do it. Like, he's a responsible adult now, and she's all like, I don't understand how this is possible. Meanwhile, her whole life's falling apart. She just broke up with a boyfriend. She moved from the city. She now has panic attacks whenever she thinks about riding a horse, and then he witnesses it and literally holds her. Listen, when he supports her when she has panic attacks, can I find me a person? Thank you. Good soup. That may have done it for me more than any of the smutty scenes. Maybe I'm a girl with issues. Anyways. Right? And so that happens. And so then he's all like, he's the only one she tells about what's happening in her life, right? Everything that's gone down. And he's like, all right, I'll help you out. I trained literal children how to ride horses. We'll just start the basics again with you as well. And it helps her, right? And then as they're hanging out regularly because of this, they start talking. And then they both have a clear attraction for the other one. And so then they start kissing. And then they start doing things other than kissing. And then heat up really fast. He's immediately like, whoop, I love her. But I can't tell you yet because this is really early. Whoop. And that's a new thing for him. And good soup. It's just like a bunch of ingredients and romances that I like putting together into a soup, which normally I don't like, but it worked for me because of the ingredients. I am also saying this as a person who actually doesn't like soup and is slowly growing to like some soup. I am a grown-up. I'm an adult. I like soup sometimes now. Wild. Anyways, I don't know what this one piece of my hair is doing, and I have so much other work I need to do. But I did just spend 2.5 hours reading this book. 3.5 stars. I don't know when I'm gonna update you again because at least over a month technically. Because I don't have time to read Flawless during that whole period, and it's more than that for the other one to come in from the library. So See you then, and very far in the future. Hello? Ooh, the fire's going bit behind me. We're here. I haven't even taken a sip of coffee yet. Okay, so you're getting low energy. And I just read Holding Reins, which means I'm crossed off my list. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now before I talk about it, I gotta tell you I'm reading a different third book, which is Rein Me In. I may read that today. The audiobook's pretty short. Also, this is perfect length, actually, for what I need to reach my audiobook goal. Because at this point, it's December. It's mid-December. Okay, I don't remember what month I read Done and Dusted, but we're in mid-December, and we gotta talk about why I'm switching out the LC Silver, despite the fact that I know for a fact, without the LC Silver on the thumbnail, it's gonna get less views, but I'm not doing that, because, in case you don't know, 'cause I know this is being pre-filmed by, like, 2 months, this part at least, right, there was an arc, a person of color's skin was described as dirty, which, in case you don't know, is racist. That's not okay. I honestly don't know. Like, I was like, if she apologizes, okay. Like, I still wouldn't read the book, but in, like, a few months' time, maybe I won't, like, do all the rereading for this video now, and I'll read it in a few months' time, because that's better, right? She never apologized. Anyways, I don't know. I really don't think it's that hard not to do that. I don't know, because I guess apparently I'm on the great side of the internet, where because of this, a lot of people were, white authors, were spreading a lot of resources of, like, articles of terms and general rules when it comes to this stuff, written by people of color. Imagine. Anyways, all that, and I was sitting here, and I was like, I don't know if she ever apologized, because I remember the 3 days when that was my whole entire internet feed, and I didn't see anything about her apologizing for it, so I went to check. And no, the answer is no. They just quietly changed the language with absolutely zero apology, acknowledgement at all, no statement, nothing. Which gives me, listen, using a word that you should use to describe a person's skin color, I thought that would be obvious, but okay, maybe you didn't know. I don't know what the hell your beta readers were doing and how they didn't point that out, but okay, sure, whatever, maybe in a few months. Like, I own an LC Silver. I'd like to read an LC Silver and enjoy it, but I don't know if I ever will after this, because then she just doesn't apologize and just brushes it on the rug and expects us to be okay with that, and that makes it so much worse, right? If you catch my drift, so I feel uncomfortable reading Flawless right now. I went through literally 2 days prior, I was trying to figure out which LC Silver to read first, too. That's great, we love that. Should I say what I'm gonna replace it with is? I said it's Rein Me In. I don't remember anything. It may have to do with grief. I'm gonna be honest, I think what happened is I went onto Libby and I went under books similar to Holding Reins, and it popped up and it was an audiobook that was available, and it was the perfect length to finish my audiobook goal, and it wasn't another Lila Sage, because every single one that popped up was Lila Sage at first, and I went, yeah, that one, so I don't know what it's about. Holding Reins is about Cecilia Ray, her father, when he was died of cancer, great start, we love that. He told her, there's like this whole thing where, like, it was the last Christmas with her father, right, for sure. The only reason that he survived, from Thanksgiving onwards, to survive through Christmas is because of experimental treatment, right? And so, it's like his last Christmas alive. Her boyfriend, I think he may be her fiance at this point, maybe not, can't come because he's too busy at work, because he's a hotshot lawyer in the city. Reading book lovers at the same time as that, it's really funny, actually, because it calls out those tropes so much, and that's kind of funny. Anyways, and he's all like, girl, you deserve better than that, right? And so in her mindset, after the fact, she was always slightly suspicious, but she was just willing to live with it. And then her father, who, like, they live in Seattle, her and her fiance live in Seattle, and her family's in Kentucky, so from that far away, he was able to recognize and also be like, cough, cheating, question mark? And so she goes home, gets all this evidence that he's cheating. She leaves him by taking the other girl's thong, one of the other girls, there's multiple, the thong that she finds of another girl's. She takes it and wraps around her engagement ring and leaves it on the coffee table and just leaves. Iconic. Anyways, and returns home. I would like everyone to know the book does not start with this information. It starts with her leaving the airport, and out of her bag comes her vibrator, and that's just this town gossip for a while. Anyways, she's got 2 older brothers, Cole and Wade. One of them's a cop. The other one runs the ranch. There's Mama Joe, the mom. One of her brothers is a single dad of Mabel. Mabel's a cutie. Anyways, her first night home, all her friends are like, hey, we're gonna go out drinking, because Sunday is ladies' night at the one bar, where it's sangrias, I think, half off or something like that. So they go out drinking, they drink a lot. Who owns the bar now? Nash. Who's Nash? You think this is a cowboy romance, but it's also a hockey romance. Oh my god. Use that clip for the beginning part, actually. I think this is why I don't like, or more difficult for me, like cowboy romances, because they have to do like the small town romance aspect, right? Which is already difficult for me to enjoy. As a bitch who lives in a small town, it's very easy for me to be like, that's just not what it's like. Because they romanticize everything. And then you have the fact that he has to be a cowboy, right? Also, I like to be known, I live on a farm. So some of this stuff I do know. This used to be a horse farm. There used to be horses here. So I know some things. Okay, and then, this one just also happens to be hockey at the same time. Anyways, yeah, Nash owns the bar. He also owns the ice rink that is more of a community center also at the same time. I'll explain later. And he also works part-time on her family ranch. It's not explained until much later in the book, like so much later into the book, but when he was like 16, 17, something like that, some drunk driver hit them head on. He was in the car with his parents. Both of his parents instantly died. It was like described as the dashboard and his mother became one. Like she was like in his lap and his legs were like crushed underneath the front seats. And so like, yeah, no, as you can imagine, that's traumatizing. As you can imagine. Anyways, the Cece's parents are the ones who took him in after that, right? So that's why he's like her third, or like her bonus brother, who beat up the guys who said rude things about her in high school and all this stuff, right? And also Andrew the ex, because Andrew the ex does show up at one point and he does beat him up, and I went, hell yeah, Nash, hell yeah. Anyways, he does it multiple times, and I was like, hell yeah, Nash. Anyways, so Nash keeps busy, and he owns the hockey rink, and he has all this stuff, and he's really rich, because he used to be part of National Hockey League, that's NHL, yeah. Like, he won the cup. There's a picture of him holding the cup, like, and he's retired now, and he likes to keep busy to not think about all his trauma. Valid, same. Me reading this book. So it's essentially her coming back down and realizing that he's hot. Him knowing that she's always been hot, but it's like a much bigger deal now, right? And because she's like not 18, she hasn't like seriously lived here since she was 18, and now she's 25, right? And so it's like she's an adult now. She starts working for him, not knowing that he's the one that owns the rink, and they need somebody to do all the accounting and planning and whatnot, and that's what she's like has her degree in, and she's really good at it. So she starts working for him. She realizes that he's hot, and she's kind of always clocked that, but also he used to be a womanizer in high school, early days, 20s, essentially all his life until recently. And his whole thing is he doesn't want a relationship because he witnessed his parents die and he can't go through that type of loss again. Okay, sure. Magically by the end they're married and have multiple kids. Anyways, you know what fixed him? Vagina. Apparently he's been going to therapy for years, but her vagina is what fixes it. Anyways, eventually she realizes he's not like her ex. They end up sleeping together. She's like, one night only, but she doesn't do one night stands, and so one night becomes multiple nights, and then they're sleeping over at his place, and then they're in love and all this stuff. And the moral of the story is women need better standards, because apparently with her ex she'd get off maybe once a year with him, I guess. She acted surprised. She was like, oh my god, this never happened before, when he got her off with his fingers alone. What are the straights doing? Get some standards. Anyways, 3 stars. It was fine. I don't plan to continue the series, because I could see the relationships it was setting up, and I wasn't the biggest fan of them. They're all not my favorite, so it's like whatever. And the writing wasn't spectacular, like Done and Dusted. I don't know what the hell was in Done and Dusted, but that one was just great. I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you maybe tomorrow if I do read the new 3rd one today. Hi. Listen, I'm editing a different video right now, and let me tell you, the quality difference, iconic. Anyways, yeah, we got upgraded phones. There was a whole issue with mine. We don't need to talk about it. I was the other day on phone with customer service for like 6 hours, and one of the guys we were on call with, when we told him what our old versions of the phones were, we had iPhone SEs. I think he like started freaking out. He was like, I'm sorry, what? So this has a no phone, which means the quality of this is completely different. I have to play with the exposure settings because it's too bright. I think part of the issue is that like I'm looking directly into my computer. My computer's like right behind you, so that may be part of the issue. I didn't even turn on the light this time, and it looks better. So I guess I'm just filming in the dark now. You know what? That's great if I ever have to do a power outage vlog again. Anyways, we're here to talk about a book. What is the name of it? Let me find it on this list that I'm definitely not finishing. It is the second to last day in December. I should mention that. Yeah. Where is it? Rein Me In. There we go. So I'm DNFing. Let me check. Oh my god, Storygraph, you're too bright. 49. We'll just close that. 49% of the way the book. I'm DNFing. Hear me out. I should have DNF'd at 10%. There's a thing in this book that is a personal issue I have with books that I've noticed a lot, not really a lot this year. Like, I think I'm at 236 books this year. I'm gonna try to finish one more, so it'll be 237. And this seems to be a thing in 3 of them that I've read this year. And it happens 10% of the book. I was literally like 2 feet away from my phone doing work downstairs, and I had like giant gloves on, and I couldn't like get to my phone, so I was like freaking out, being forced to listen to it, being like, bitch, what the fuck? I listened to it until midnight last night, and then this morning when I was like walking the dogs and getting ready for the day and blah blah blah, all that stuff, I was listening some more. Reading another like 13% today. I should have DNF'd at 10%. I should have DNF'd at 16%. I should have DNF'd when I went to bed last night. Like, this would not be the first time this month that, like, the 1st of December, there was a book where I started to listen to the audiobook again after taking a break overnight to sleep, and I immediately went, no, and DNF'd just little as DNF'd the day before, right? Like, this wouldn't be the first time I've done that this month, and I should have done that. But no, I still continued until 50%, and I'm saying, I know this is going to be 2-star. Why the fuck am I continuing to read it? I feel like I should start with positives. I'll do that in a second. I want to bury the lead of what pisses me off mostly, okay? There's 2 things. There's the one personal issue I have, which really ruined one book specifically that I was actually liking this year. It's just a thing I've noticed, okay? And then the other thing is kind of connected, and the whole reason why I don't like this book, okay? I don't like filming in the dark. It feels weird. Anyways, so, you know, good times. I don't remember if there's more I wanted to say. Listen, I'm not reaching my pages goal. I'm not going to reach my audiobook goal. I'm not finishing my 25 in 2025. I literally have one more book I need to read, and that will finish the last book of the Buzzwordathon cover edition. And that's it. Like, I don't care about challenges anymore. Because of having to lose a day and a half because of phone technical issues, I am so behind that I just gave up trying, essentially is what happened. And so, that was, like, the only purpose for me to finish, was to try to get it to that audiobook, like, level. But, like, I don't care enough. If I really wanted to, I could just pull up a quick audiobook and read it in like 1 hour at 3 times speed and do it. But no, I didn't want to do that, and the end. I don't know where to start. This is a little bit of a combination of the 2 others I read, Done and Dusted and Holding Reins, yes, that I have read for this video. It's got the female main character as an expert, like, professional rider until an accident makes it so it's difficult for her to ride anymore. That was in Done and Dusted. Really, the fact that Done and Dusted was so good that I actually decided to continue the series is astronomical, and we should consider this video a success just because of that. And then it has the male main character having a connection with the female main character's brother. A completely different financial situation as the female main character, or at least their family do. Well, he does. Which is in the opposite direction. He's dirt poor in this one, and she was making millions of dollars. But like, and they are well off. But right, it's switched, but similar aspect. And 3, he has a personal connection with the person in her family who died, that their grief is all rolled up in one, and there's supposed to be some attachment because of that. Let me tell you, it's much better in Holding Reins. Every complaint I had about Holding Reins, I don't remember what I said, but every complaint I had, it was leagues better. Anyways, positives, I probably already put the book cover in, but anyway, we put the book cover back in, because as you can see on the cover, she is not a size 2. I don't remember her name, should I check? Blake is her name, and he's Gavin, got it. Oh my god. So Blake is clearly not a size 2 on the cover. Okay, right? If you compare the Holding Reins, the version I read at least didn't have people on the cover, but Done and Dusted did. She's about my size in that. In this one, she is 5'9" and is described as curvy, having issues with her body previously, but coming to not only accept her proportions now, but love them, right? And so positives, that's a thing in this book, and it's referenced on the cover. I hate it so much when books, God, I hate it so much when, especially in romance books, right? Because they tend to be female oriented. So once you, anyways, I just immediately got really mad for no reason. I think the only other I can think who's also done this is Katie Robert. I feel like there's a version of the Wicked Villain, because their Wicked Villain series is coming out with new covers, and I feel like there's versions where the characters are actual proportions to what they are in the books. Because it's just a thing in publishing and marketing where you gotta have the woman be hot, and so that means she has to be size 2 on the cover. Even if she's not in the book. In the book, she's not a size 2. She's gotta be on the cover so that it sells. Because sexy sells. And a woman being over the size 2, no, that's not sexy. So I love that. I think that's all I've got for positives. I really liked that aspect. That's it. Okay, so now let's talk about the aspect that at 10% really irked me. The other books that did similar things to this is the third Knock 'Em Out book. I think it's Things We Never Got Over. This is a thing where somebody, the main character, usually female main character, is grieving the loss of somebody in the family, right? And some other character, usually male, comes up to them and tells them to get over it, or specifically triggers them in a way. Even if they don't know that's what they're doing, they have no right saying that without knowing that they're triggering them. Like, it's not an okay thing to say anyways, and then you as a reader know that it's triggering to the character, so it's like, what the fuck is happening? The Things We Never Got Over is the worst one. We're in like the first chapter, she's at her father's funeral, and he pulls her aside and tells her to get over herself. At her father's funeral! Anyways, to get over herself, so that, because her mother's grieving. I still feel so much anger. Check Animate by Allie Hazelwood, a book I was really liking up until this point. This whole book, she's grieving her father, but also, her father was not a good guy and abandoned the family, and a bunch of other stuff. And so, she's like grieving the family dynamic they had that he ruined, but also grieving him at the same time. And so it's this really hard duality. And this random side character, who's rich, he's rich and all this stuff, right? Comes up to her randomly near the like last quarter of the book and tells her to get over herself. And then suddenly her character changes, and that's the motivation she needs to change for the better. I'm pissed still to this day, not to the same extent, but oh my god. This one, Blake, 5 years ago, almost to the day, right? She had a younger brother. I think he was like 5 years younger than her, something like that. He was really close friends with, you know what? You know what's really funny? I just looked up his name and I still don't remember. Gavin. I was gonna say Garrett. Close. Reed and Gavin were friends, right? Close friends. That I don't remember the age difference between Reed and Blake, but I do know that it was described as like even when Gavin was 10, he would have a crush on 15-year-old Blake. So that's the thing. Right? So anyways, she is a professional racer. She like actually makes millions of dollars, wins championships, all this stuff, right? Like, she's a professional. His whole thing, he's like 19 at this point. He wants to train racehorses, essentially. And so there's this one difficult horse that he's been training for a while. Their mother's like, no, don't, this horse isn't ready yet. And he's all like, no, she's ready. I've worked so hard with her. The parents are away for whatever reason. They go out riding one day. She says, hey, maybe don't take out this horse. That's had issues in the past. Right? And he's like, no, I've worked with her a lot, and it'd be good experience for her. So he takes her out, right? And then on a not even path, he's all like, let's race to this watering hole, right? And she's all like, I don't know if that's a good idea with this horse that's had some difficulties in the past. And he's like, no, see, I've trained her really well. Let's do it. And so he does like a head start. She's behind him a little bit. She's just living in the moment. So I think the horse's leg gets stuck in mud or something like that. And legs breaks. He gets flown off the horse. And as far as I can tell, instantaneously dies. Except she then has to find him, hold his dead body as she's screaming at him, freaking out in the middle of a field. She's lucky as hell that there was a random farmer nearby who heard her, because if that didn't happen soon, she was gonna have to put his dead body on her horse and ride them back home. Like the 30-minute ride back home with her dead brother, and leave his horse out there to die. Like, it doesn't start with telling you this stuff. Like, this stuff doesn't come up until like a quarter of the way through the book, okay? But I'm telling you now, it's just one of those things where it's like, tries to hide what exactly happened, for a shock moment, like a quarter of the way through the book. As you can imagine, she's traumatized. Yeah. I get it. And so because of this, she doesn't ride anymore. No kind of riding. She doesn't like ride fake horses, bulls in bars, real horses, anything like this. She moved to Tennessee like almost immediately because she couldn't deal with the looks that everybody gave her, all this stuff. Now recently, Gavin's father has died, suddenly, of a stroke, I think, and he is now, in charge of their farm. He left everything to him, even though it was supposed to be split evenly between him and his brother, so there's no biological animosity between him and his brother, because his brother thinks that, like, he was shortchanged from all this, blah, 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 blah. And so it's really cheating with him, including at one point, going on a date in front of him, like, purposely making sure that this other woman picked him up, at their house when he was home. That is his ex who cheated on him. Like, he caught her cheating on him. Yeah, no, that's a shitty thing to do. Anyways, basically, the whole reason the dad left it all to Gavin and not both of them is because they're hemorrhaging money, and he hasn't told them extent. I'm assuming there's something to do with they owe large amounts of debts, and before long they're gonna come collecting, and it's a real issue. Right? So that's how the opposite money situation. Also, like, he was best friends with her brother, that's why the connection with the dead person, right? So when the book starts, they're holding a charity auction for bachelors type thing at the town bar that her best friend runs. His family owns it, and he runs it now because his dad's gone ill, right? He runs it, and the two brothers, Gavin and Cade, the fact I remember Cade's name, oh my god, work there part-time, right? And they are doing this auction night thing where you ride a bull, and you have like a picnic basket type thing. Kind of reminds me of that episode of Grandma Girls. Anyways, and whoever was the last one to bet on you when you fall off the horse, or bull, mechanical bull, that person gets to take you out on a date, right? And the money that's betted gets to go to the family, blah, 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 blah. right? So Blake is forced to go by her family. There's a bunch of weird family dynamics where she's never really felt close to her mother, but ever since her brother died, she feels like she's not good enough because she's their only surviving child, and lightly blames herself for her brother's death, right? And so there's that aspect, but there's also the aspect that her mother is very much the kind of be like, oh, you haven't done this with your life, and you aren't married yet, and you haven't popped out some children yet. She's very much the type of person who's like, you either need to be a career woman or a housewife. And you can't just be like trying to exist and survive every day, which is where Blake is. So it causes a lot of animosity with her mother, who has recently broken into, like, that's why she's back in town for the first time in like 5 years, right before the anniversary of her brother's death. And so her and her father are forced to go to, well, she's forced to go. Her father's gonna go anyway, but he can't go on his own for some fucking reason, and her mother can't go because she has a broken leg. So she has to go with him, with the understanding that she will be not riding this bull or going on a date. Thank you very much for her to walk him. Gavin being like immediately, who's in charge of this whole entire auction thing going down, being immediately smitten, and she's trying to send him so many signals this whole time, and he ignores all of them, baits her into going up there, riding the bull, and being auctioned on, right? And then I'm so pissed, right? Does he know this is gonna trigger her? No, but like she's really pissed. She's clearly sending him so many signs of like, please no, do not make me do this. She does it. He bets almost $1,000 on her. The whole point is for him to try to bet on her. Her friend there is the one who wins the bet, kindly, so that she doesn't have to go out with some weird stranger she doesn't really know who's handsy or anything, right? They have like kind of a romantic past, but like they're just friends now type thing. And so she's pissed at Gavin for this. Her dad's all like, you're like being too emotional about it. I'm so pissed. And then the next day, or maybe not the next, I think it is the next day, his grandmother's like, oh yeah, no, I tried to push her towards it too, but clearly we were in the wrong. So he goes to apologize, and tries to force her to ride a horse again, until she blatantly says, I don't ride anymore. And he's all like, oops, sorry. And it's just a lot of him saying the wrong things, including at one point, he's being protective of her because guy's being too handsy and pushy, with her at the bar, and he says he's doing it because that's what her brother would want, knowing that it would piss her off. Like, this is the type of guy we're dealing with, right? He constantly forces her into situations and then ogles her during it, not understanding that she's uncomfortable, right? Like, there's this whole aspect where she has anxiety now, and being on the bull gives her a panic attack. Like, there's so many issues here, right? And so I'm at the party where they're about to, for the first time, they've kissed a few times. I don't understand. I get his attraction. He's always had a thing for her, and she's back in town. Oh my god, I'm in love. Blah, blah, blah. But I'm dealing with all this stuff with my family, so I'm not good for her. Blah, 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 blah. And I don't understand why she is gonna fall in love with him, because every single time they run into each other, he says some shitty thing, right? Like when she's on the date that her best friend won, right? He says that, well, you're the one that bought her, to the friend who is his boss. And also this friend keeps on like trying to push Gavin to hit on her more, knowing that it makes her uncomfortable. So that's a whole other thing. He knows that she's not happy about it, and it makes her uncomfortable, and then he continuously pushes this guy to do it more. That's not a good friend. Anyways, the moral of the story is, I don't think I'm explaining it why it pisses me off. It's just a thing where like he unknowingly triggers her, and then does a half-hearted apology, and then tries it all to ask her out on a date. That's not hot to me. Also, here's the other thing. She has not properly healed emotionally from the loss of her brother. I don't know if she's ever gone to therapy. There was like a thing where her mother mentioned that she has a therapist, and she does online calls, so she should talk to somebody, blah, blah, blah. Right, which I agree, she should. And I know for a fact he doesn't go to therapy, okay? Both these people need to go to extensive therapy before they can be in a relationship. I cannot root for this relationship because he is very rude to her and says very mean things to her about her behind her back and to her face. And he's all like, well, you're just so hot. Right? And the reason why is because he needs to damage her because he's damaged. Because his father's dead. Okay? And so it's like neither one of these people are in a healthy enough state to enter into a relationship, and I'm supposed to root for them. Like, no, like her I could give a little bit of excuse for, because it's had more time, she had more healing, she is doing slightly better than he is. His was like very recently, right? And he's dealing with way too much to be able to handle a relationship on top of that. Like, he's literally pushing his responsibilities to the side right now in order to her. So, also, they're about to, right after he found her in her car on the side of the road having a breakdown. Hear me out. If I just had a breakdown less than an hour ago, I don't care if you made me an omelet, I'm not fucking you. Anyways, this is not a healthy relationship. That's the moral of the story. It's not healthy, for either one of them. And I just need them to separately go to therapy and maybe in 5 years try again. And so, that's the story. I can't, like, read a romance all the way through when in my thought, every single time something happens, like, this is not healthy. Please get some help. Like, please. That's not romantic to me. Thank you very much. And that's that. I talked about this book for 24 minutes. I have such skill. And that's that. Go done and dusted, I guess. I don't understand how that one happened. I'm gonna go. I gotta edit another video. No, I have to edit this one too. End of video things and stuffs. Wednesdays I have gaming. Saturdays is booktube videos like this, vlogs, wrap-ups, read with news, the whole shebang. And if you want to see me gaming live, the gaming videos are all slightly edited down versions from Twitch, which is linked below. Actually, I'll post on Instagram at least once a week recently. So that's also down below. That's everything. I'm gonna go. This is like clearly very far filmed ahead of time because it's just about to be New Year, and I know this goes up in February. So I don't know exactly what comes out next. It could be a small town romance taste test. It could be another romancy taste test. I feel like there's another one that I wanted to do. I don't remember. But those are options of what could be next. I don't know. I don't know the order of these are gonna go up. You may be like, but girl, this is the first one done. Shouldn't it be like this one first? Yes, but I'm like 1 or 2 books away, like in the next week or two. I'm going to finish the other ones as well, so I don't know. Look at me pre-filming. And that is everything. I'm gonna go edit this video that I'm clearly procrastinating doing and make a second copy. Goodbye. Thank you for watching the video. Until next time.